Daniel chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. Alright? And he was in his palace, contented and prosperous, and had a dream that made him very afraid. And this time he seeks out everybody to tell him the interpretation. Nobody can do it again. This time he's not being so bullheaded. He's actually telling everybody what the dream was, and no one can tell him what the interpretation was. So then he sent for Belteshazzar, who is Daniel, and he said, I know the spirit of the holy gods is on you, and no mystery is too difficult for you. Here's the dream. Interpret it for me. So he tells him the dream, and this is what the dream was. These are the visions while I was laying in my bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. It was high. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its tops touched the sky. So just imagine that. Close your eyes. Imagine that in your head. A tree that's is so big you can see it for miles and miles and miles. It goes all the way to the sky, maybe like the fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk. Something that's just up to the clouds, super high. The tree grew large and strong. Its top touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful. So imagine some beautiful big leaves. Its fruit abundant, and on it was food of all for all. So I had enough fruit on it that everyone could eat from it. So imagine just apples or oranges or beautiful fruit all in it, enough for everyone to eat. Its leaves were beautiful, food for all. Under it, the beasts of the field found shelter. So imagine elephants and giraffes and dogs and whatever. All the animals are under the tree. Just because it's like, you know how you see a tree in the middle of the field and there'll be like 10 cows under it for shade. But imagine just like Noah's Ark, all the animals are under it for shade. And all the birds of the air lived in its branches. In the vision, while I was laying on my bed, I looked, and a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven. Okay, so this big, beautiful tree, fruit, all the animals under it, all the birds in it, everybody eating from its fruit, gigantic. Then a big, maybe a holy one from heaven comes down from heaven. Okay, like a big angel maybe. He called in a loud voice, cut down the tree, trim off its branches, strip off its leaves, scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it, the birds from its branches, but let the stump and its roots bound up in bronze and remain. Okay? So the dream was pretty scary. So he looked at Daniel and was like, okay, what do you think? So Daniel was greatly perplexed for a time, and his thoughts terrified him. And Belteshazzar, what was it? The king said to Daniel, do not let the dream and its meaning alarm you. So Daniel answered, my lord, only the dream applied. If only it would apply to your enemies or to your adversaries. It's like, I wish this has happened to somebody you didn't like, because this is not a good interpretation. He said, the tree's you. And right now, you're awesome. You're a good king. And basically all the nations are fed by you and taken care of by you. But, O king, you are that tree. You, O king, are that tree. You become great and strong. All right? But the Holy One's going to cut you down and destroy you. All right? But he's going to leave the stump. So it's like maybe there's some hope. There's some hope there. He's going to leave the stump. All right? This is the interpretation against my lord the king. You will be driven away from your people. You're going to eat grass like cows do, and the dew's going to be on you. You're going to grow long hair until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign. Okay? And your kingdom will be restored to you when you acknowledge that God is God and that He's the most sovereign. Okay, now y'all remember that he kind of has some pride issues. He made the statue for himself, and everybody had to bow down to it. like as if he was God. And he's got some pride issues. So the dream comes true 12 months later. This is an important verse. I want you to remember this. It said, the king was walking on his roof, this holy palace of Babylon, and he said, is not this the great Babylon I have built as the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty? So what does that sound like? Does that sound like pride? He's on the rooftop. He's looking down. He's like, man, I'm the bomb. I'm so awesome. Look at all this amazingness, and it's all because of me. Okay? The words were still on his lips, and a voice came down from heaven. This is what the decree of the Lord for King Nebuchadnezzar. Your royal authority has been taken from you. You're going to be driven away from your people, and you'll live with the animals. And that very night, he turned into this kind of like this animal. His hair got really long. He had claws, and he went out and he like basically lived like a cow, and he ate grass for like 7 years. And then his sanity was restored, and he praised the Most High, and he honored him and glorified him. And this is what he said. This wicked king who was all about idols, after he'd had that experience, what the Lord did is he humbled him, okay? So humility and pride, they're opposites, okay? So if we ever feel our life full of pride and we get really proud, the Lord can humble us. He can cause things to happen to us that'll make us embarrassed or make other people not look at us like we're the bomb, right? So he humbled him, right? That turned him into a cow creature for 7 years. That'd be pretty humbling, right? So after that, this is what, at the end of that time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my sanity was restored. I praised the Lord Most High. I honored and glorified him. And this is what King Nebuchadnezzar, the idol worshiper, used to be. This is what he said about God. His wisdom is eternal. Dominion, his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the people of the earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with his powers of heaven, the people of the earth. No one can hold back his hand or say to him, what have you done? His sanity was restored. He became greater than he had ever been. All right. And he praised and exalted and glorified the King of heaven. Because everything he does is right, all his ways are just, and those who walk in pride, he is able to humble. Don't be proud or you'll turn into a cow.